So we had so much dropped on us in the final test live stream for Etheria Restart. And I gotta say, guys, we got like some of everything new. New characters, new bosses, new shells, new game modes, you name it, it's new. And so we're gonna be recapping some of those things. And of course, getting into and highlighting not only some of the questions, concerns, but also some of those features that you may have actually overlooked. We're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. And I wanna start out first with the characters. And this is definitely one of their like bread and butter characters for the release. Not even just a cool looking character aesthetically, even kit wise, this character is bringing a ton of value. I'm really, really excited to not only be able to get things like fleshed out for the wiki, but also seeing how the other SSR Animuses that are coming into the game are going to perform. Now, just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea of like what this character does, she basically has an ability called Dreamweave that she's basically able to give to all of her allies. And it basically makes it to where when they're afflicted with a debuff, it consumes a stack of it to purify it. And this can stack up to 3 times. But she also will debuff the enemy side with a debuff called Nightmare. And this makes it to where they take 12% more damage. And when attacked, it heals the attacker by 12% of the damage that they dealt, basically, right? The other thing that makes her quite unique, and this is just all of her skill 1, is that the Dream Inducer increases a teammate's 3% turn meter each time they receive a buff. You're getting turn manipulation, purifying of debuffs, damage amplification, and then also on top of that, you're then having like a form of leech also there. And then it also knocks back the enemies by 3% of their turn meter without considering resistance each time they receive a debuff. So this is also going to completely ignore resistances, which is kind of insane. And this can trigger up to a maximum of 3 times per turn. And then Freya gains double the Dream Inducer effects when receiving buffs and applying debuffs, which literally she can do in her entire kit. You have the defense up in the skill 2 with the Dreamweave that she can apply to her entire party. And then on top of that, she also has in the skill 3, the attack up that she can give to her entire party, also paired up with the Nightmare, which remember, when allies are hitting into that, they're making the enemy take 12% more damage. And then they're also having scaled attack, then hitting to restore more HP to themselves. So it's just an absolutely insane new character, really, really honestly changing up the entire mix. So definitely guys, if you are not subscribed to the channel, if you're like not linked into the Hell Hades website, make sure you guys are, because we're gonna have some updated videos getting more into some of the synergies and some of the ways that you can approach adding this character and the value that this character is gonna have to a many of different compositions that already exist and even some new ones that are going to be coming into the game. There are a ton of other SSRs and I'll quickly highlight them just so you guys can see them. We have a couple of other ones. We have Ramoka, really, really sick looking, like mouse-like, I guess, or squirrel. I don't even know. Rosa, which I'm not gonna lie, she has this whole Admiral vibe going on with the jacket. Dude, she looks absolutely insane. Tsukiyomi, which I actually realized that's how you pronounce this from the official final test live stream, but she's another defense-oriented like type character coming into the game. Another character we're gonna break down at some point and, you know, definitely test out. Born, who is another character, which I gotta throw this in, guys. He has 2 Dobermans. All right, I'm gonna have another video. Okay, I know somebody's gonna be like, "Yo, Zox, why didn't you go over the kits?" Listen, I'm gonna have another video. Okay, I promise you guys. For each of these characters, you're gonna get their own spotlight videos. It's gonna be great. There's also Mia, which is another character, kind of like this little water wisp or spirit water. They also gave us some more love when it came down to the SRs coming into the game. So we're getting a new Ren the Unbowed. We're also, I think, getting. Is that it? I think that might have been. I think it might have been it. I think we might have been it. Okay, yeah. Oh, actually, no, I'm lying. We have one more. And I was like, I know we have one more. Marvel. This is basically the roster of characters that we're having coming into the game. Obviously highlighting, you know, the insane Freya. And of course, that, will gateway us into the gacha, right? A couple of different things, okay? Perma summons, target summons, obviously is going to be its own thing, right? That we've already had, but there are going to be some differences. So with the target summons, we're going to now be seeing a little bit of a difference here. We're going to have some of those newer units that are, you know, coming into the game being added to this. So keep an eye out for that, guys. We're going to have an updated video getting into some of those options and those choices that you can make that can really mix up and really even allow you to create your own diverse progression. And then, of course, leading into different builds, like for your play style. We have the limited banner, again, 100 summons. It's 100 crystals per summon. And that's going to be 1,000 for a multi, which is very, very cheap. Keep in mind, it's only highlighting this one character. There's no 50-50. So you don't have to worry about anything else premiering on this banner. And of course, one of the great things is if we go over to the probabilities here, you will see Freya, yes, has a limited banner, but That's just to rate her up. This banner is going to be the permanent banner, and it still has her in here, as well as the other new characters I just showed you, and also including the light and dark characters, right? They're going to be carrying this over. They've had this in every beta. They're going to have a banner for Messiah. This is obviously going to be a pretty big deal because this is one of the fan favorites. So Messiah is also going to be having a banner as well as we go into release. So this is just, again, really, really important just, to emphasize and just to kind of point out to you guys. So I just want to make sure that, you're aware, especially if you haven't heard any of this news yet. Now, I want to actually move on to some of the different events and content that we'll be actually seeing when the game is going into this beta, and then of course, pushing into the release. So the Instinct Echoes is going to be super crucial because this is actually a way, basically challenges like different enemies or boss fights, I guess you want to call them that you're going to be taking on. They're going to have 3 different difficulties per each thing. They're going to have rewards attached to each thing, from summon currencies, modules to gear your characters, to the latices, which is what you use for skilling up your characters. You're going to have so much stuff here to basically claim. And at the release, it looks like there's going to be 30 of these for you to be able to challenge. But of course, keep in mind, that's in like segments of 3. So in reality, it's that times 3, right? So that's already a ton coming just from this one piece of challenge content. So the Cyber Shadows was one of the ones that we've actually had within the game with the meme hunt. Very, very simple. You have something that is going to be like your meme wish or your meme collection, which is basically going to be you collecting different cards. They're going to have different symbols on them. And the way that you basically do this event is you go into the meme battle and you click on whichever corresponding thing you're trying to match up, right? The whole point of you matching up these cards is so that you can get these resources here, right? So we're talking about literally things to take your characters to 6 stars. This is definitely going to be super huge to helping you with your progression. Hydra crystals, which is your premium currency. So you basically use this essentially to gain more currency for your account. Now, one of the other events that they're actually highlighting as well is the cubic game. This is actually a fairly interesting game mode that they're going to have within the game. The cool thing is that this is something that you can kind of just do really honestly within, the time frame that it's up as many times as you want. But what it's basically going to allow you to do is taking these various shapes, or what I'm going to call our boost, and you basically going to have like different bosses on the overall board, and depending on how you place these boosts on the board, it actually will enhance or amplify the potential rewards that you can get from the bosses. Now, this is also going to come with different like levels of difficulties and things of that nature as you start to climb it. That's going to yield you potentially more resources and rewards to go onto your account. They have a ton of like little witty, very neat events for you to take advantage of. The Champions Call is actually going to be a betting system in the game, and there's going to be different compositions that go up against each other every single day, daily, and you basically just make the decision on which one you feel is going to basically win. If you make the correct choice, you basically get a really, really nice resource or reward, dark summons, Hydra crystals, and other resources that can help you build up your account. We have some new challenge content, the Infinity Train. This is going to be pretty cool. It's 24 waves of just pure madness, okay? And the cool thing is that after you're, essentially trying to attempt beating this, every 3 waves, you'll be able to pick 1 empowerment out of 3 choices. And these are going to be via cards that you can activate in battle. Then these effects will be able to stack essentially. So you can carry them from battle to battle. And the cards that have a similar effect can stack up to 2 times. And basically rewards are given based off of your highest rating in a single battle. During the opportunity that you're able to challenge these, you can claim a rating reward 1 time per day. So this event lasts for 7 days, and you basically can challenge this 3 times per day. Some of the stuff that you're getting here is just some of the things that are going to help you with building up your account, from, getting dupes, more ether coins, which is going to help you with leveling your gear and things of that nature, right? These were actually things I don't think were actually highlighted in the final beta test preview live stream. Things like the Candy Party event that's going to actually be taking place. So this is actually something that's pretty cool, because this will allow you to basically partake in like a draw gacha. It's like a gacha within the gacha, but except it doesn't require any premium currency. It just is going to require you to do certain things daily, which is your investigation, GP outpost, and your threshold. And you basically get free draws to basically try to pick up one of these gacha balls. They're going to have more resources and rewards inside of them. So again, they're going to have this be a part 1 and a part 2. There's going to be more things for you guys to be able to claim. On top of that, we're also going to have the Dazzler Pulse event. This was actually something that we had in the previous beta, but they're going to continue and obviously carry over. Same same thing, just some regular daily things that you can do: Grim Pursuit, Threshold, Phantom Theater, and they're going to basically give you a certain amount of plays, and depending on how many of the currency or the notes that you are able to claim, it's going to allow you to be able to traverse or basically have enough movement via the segments you collect to be able to get some of these extra rewards. So summons, Hydra Crystals, more summons, stuff to dupe your characters, the Shadow Prince, the Latices. These are all going to be crucial things to your overall progression, right? Then, of course, they're bringing back the Chiaku's Ring. Now, this is something that I think a lot of players probably don't even remember unless you played like CBT2, CBT1. This is actually a really, really cool event. It's kind of like a rolling the dice type of event. You get a certain amount of rolls per day, and doing certain things or tasks will allow you to get some extra rolls. But basically your goal is to try to circle this as many times as you can, and as many rounds as you complete, it'll allow you to be able to get more resources on your account, right? So all of these events are all just oriented to you getting everything built up on your account. Like, this is probably like just some of the most free to play things. And we're not even talking about one summon, two summon, look, 2 summons, 3 summons, 200 Hydra Crystals, which keep in mind, Hydra Crystals literally convert 100 Hydra Crystals into 1 summon, right? So they're giving you so much stuff. I think another thing that's worth mentioning here is that they're going to be having the EWS Global Invitation. So this is something that they actually plan on doing starting in the beta, also going into official release. It's an opportunity for you to actually be able to compete on the world stage for Etheria Restart's live PvP. This is something that I think is really, really cool, because they're going to be doing this in different rounds, just kind of letting you build up to getting to the point. I think it's like the first 128 people globally that perform really well in a Summit Arena specifically. You're going to be able to have an opportunity to be able to qualify and go up against that collective group of people. All those participants will be rewarded, if I'm not mistaken, with something in-game. Then the top 3 people will actually be receiving a cash prize. I know some people were wondering, how exactly can you have esports in a gacha game? Well, considering how that they're, really emphasizing that you only need 1 copy. That was even said by the producer himself. You only need to get 1 copy of the character. And the dupes themselves offer very minute value to just give you a little bit of extra value if you do pull them, but they're not changing the unit to where they don't fundamentally work unless you have those dupes. In its entirety, it's just how the game is fundamentally set up, which is why I'm so excited and have been excited for literally the last 4 years, building up to this time period where we're actually now starting to see some things happen officially. On the topic of Arena, this was something that was also mentioned. Obviously, we have our classic Etheria, which is just going to be you versus, other people's defenses, them going up against your defense, really honestly just climbing a ladder and trying to get as many points as you possibly can so that you can basically get the goodies here in the shop, which again, these are all just things to help you building up your account. The other form of arena that we have is the real-time arena, which is the Summit Arena. And the Summit Arena is obviously one of the big things that the game has to offer, where we are going to be able to challenge each other worldwide. Okay, so this is a pretty big deal because yes, there is, you could be in Sweden and you could fight somebody in China, right? It is one of the coolest things. And of course, it's going to be ban pick style with a ban protect. So you'll be able to pick characters. You can't use the same exact characters as your opponent. And then from there, the person with the best strategy basically is going to be, able to climb, and the person that doesn't isn't going to really be able to climb. So very straightforward. We've done a ton of Summit Arena. I was able to even partake in one of the tournaments, and that's actually going to be gatewaying into something they actually announced that's going to be starting in the beta, which is going to be the Fearless Arena. Now, this is something that's going to be taking place on the weekends. You can challenge it as much as you want, and it's really cool because it's a esports style tournament, best out of 3. You will queue into a group of 8, and you basically duke it out in a tournament fashion, and whoever ends up being the one to climb out on top basically will receive currencies and badges and all different types of things to allow you to buy stuff out of the shop, which again is going to help you with further investing in your account. And this is just another way for players to get more active and involved, and being able to actually experience something like this that is just kind of unseen. It's never been done in gacha, where regular players can actually jump in and experience an esports style tournament in the game as a actual game mode, and not just some random hey, let's just fight our friends. No, you're actually fighting for rewards and resources. And the cool thing is that again, this can be done as much as you want on the weekends, right? So really, really cool. And I'm really excited to see how they're going to try to innovate other aspects of PvP, considering that this is something so new and so fresh as well. One of the last things that I actually want to mention as far as what we're going to be expecting to see, now this is going to be actually happening when the official release happens, is the guild versus guild content called United Front. United Front is going to be a new and just a really cool piece of content that you can do with your guild, right? And obviously you'll be facing off against other guilds. And this is something that I think a lot of us are looking forward to, because this is going to give those that maybe might not be so into some of the PvP stuff other things to do outside of that, right? And this, of course, is something we do have to stay tuned for. They didn't really give us too much information on what exactly it's going to be, or how it's going to be, I should say. But it is going to be something that we are going to have within the game. And we're going to also be able to get resources, and it's going to have its own said, like, you know, shop and all different things for us to take advantage of. And I think that that's going to be something, again, that's just giving us an extra layer of, you know, things to have fun with, and just really honestly something that creates more excitement. So I'm really honestly super hyped for the United Front, because that, I will say, I think is really going to bring a lot of us together outside of us just throwing hands in PvP. I really feel like that guild and the community is really going to be super, super fun. And hopefully the best guild will be able to, you know, get some bragging rights from that. So we'll have to look forward to that as well in the near future. Now, at this part of the video, I actually want to dive in a little bit deeper into some of the conversations that I was fortunate enough to be able to have with the producer of Etheria Restart that you guys didn't necessarily get to see in the live stream, which the live stream was amazing. I know a lot of things had to be condensed, you know, just for the visual. You know, you're not trying to keep their, you know, people there for 4 hours. But yes, the conversations were pretty extensive. I, again, was able to have a one-on-one with the producer, Jack. And so again, just shout out to Etheria for this opportunity, and just for allowing me to be a part of all their projects. But some of the things that I want to highlight that were mentioned that I seen some of you guys actually asking about were things like, for example, balancing. The easy answer, or the simple answer, I guess, to kind of sum up some of the conversations we had about that, is that when it comes down to like making sure things are maintained and balanced, the developers are like really trying hard to making sure that things come into the game balanced. And so there's a lot of things that exist. You know, obviously, guys, I do things with the wiki. You know, I have been playtesting and doing every single beta, trying to collect a lot of data information on characters that are a certain way. And I think one of the best things that they've been trying to really do, that Jack actually talked about, is creating a circle of life, to where there's always going to be a counter that exists to something. So something's not so oppressive to the point that there's nothing that can beat it. And that's usually what makes something super, super meta or super oppressive to the game, is when something can't be beat. Like, it's like it just counters everything. And then they have to release one specific thing to counter that thing. And then it's just this repeating cycle, versus it just already being that way, right? Like, there's just cycle of, okay, you want to play tank down, but then there's this, you know, variation of speed cleave that can, you know, like wreck tank down or something, right? Like, that is what their goal is. And so we'll have to obviously wait and see how they really are going to approach that, because can mistakes happen? Absolutely. But I really honestly have a lot of faith in this team, because they have taken a lot of criticism from the CN side, now going into their global release, and they've implemented those changes. They, you know, put their money where their mouth is, or however that saying goes, but you know what I mean. And they basically have implemented the things that a lot of players have wanted, made the gacha better, made things cheaper, and really have emphasized allowing us to just really have a fun game to play. Now, another thing that I know a lot of you guys were asking about, that I actually was able to ask, was about stamina. And a lot of players I've seen were asking about, hey, are we going to get more stamina, or do, you know, the whole concept of needing more stamina. Now, I will say, as one of the individuals that have played every single beta extensively, I've put hours upon hours. I mean, I'm even going to say hundreds of hours at this point into Etheria, testing even outside of betas. I will say wholeheartedly that the game doesn't actually need any enhancements necessarily to stamina. And there's actually series to also coincide with that. If you guys want, I definitely recommend checking out the homie Scion Storm's free-to-play progression series, where he used no bonuses. He didn't get any boost to his account. He didn't have any extra login summons. There weren't any of those insane beta rewards. He just played through on a 6-day or 6-part series where he literally was able to get like I think somewhere around like 2 6 stars in like a matter of days. And that in a lot of other games can take quite a bit of time depending on how that game works and operates. And one of the things that I can genuinely say that I've been able to test out is that this game gives you so much currency, not just for you to have just Hydro Crystals. So you have to decide on, oh, am I going to be able to use that on summoning and then also using it for energy refills. It's like they actually want you to be able to have currency to be able to do energy refills so you can max value that for your account level. And that's actually the way that we've been able to approach and play every single beta. So they did actually go as to say that they don't have any current plans with changing the energy system, but they are going to be collecting data and of course listening to the community. So if there are any specific reasons as to why that, might be a change, they're going to be essentially keeping an eye out for that. But there isn't like an immediate like, hey, we're changing stamina. And like I said, it really genuinely is a good amount of stamina. And I feel like respectively so, the game is going to be evolving into multiple different waves. And so we're going to have our early game metas, we're going to have our mid game metas, and we're going to have our end game metas. And I think that that's something that is going to really honestly be something that we have as a memory and what's going to make this a memorable experience and really what's going to make the game even more fun. I think if we jump into things too fast, then that just kind of kills everything. There's really no like progression at that point. And I think that that's the whole entire point, is that you want to have some sort of progression and not being stuck, right? And I think that with this game, as many times as I played it, I've always managed to get to end game, even without a lot of the bonuses and things of that nature that you get or that you were able to get in like the beta. So yeah, that's basically that in a nutshell. That was, I guess, some of the main things that I know some players were kind of wondering about. I would say as far as everything else, again, just to reiterate with dupes aren't really that crazy, guys. Like they're not something that's like going to change a Wells account to the point where they just are now curve stomping you because they have a max duped character. That is one thing that they really have done a really good job with, making it more about the build and the strategy you're using, which I would argue still boils down to luck. It doesn't matter how much money you put into the game. You can't force roll your substats. That's just all luck, right? So that's just kind of that. But ultimately, guys, I'm actually really excited for Etheria Restart. I feel like this game is honestly going to do something completely different. I've been, playing gacha games for literally, now we're talking about almost a decade, and I've been a content creator for almost that amount of time as well. And I will say Etheria Restart's introducing something extremely fresh, really exciting. And I'm really excited for you guys to be able to try the game out coming this June on the 5th. Okay, that is going to be the release date. And of course, for the final test, that is going to be taking place on May 8th. So make sure that you guys be there or be square. I'm going to have 2 coupon codes actually pop up. And these coupon codes are actually going to be ones that's usable for those that are going to be participating in the final test. And for those that are going to be coming on the launch, the Etheria 0605 is going to be for the launch, and Etheria 0408 is going to be for the final test. So make sure that you guys use those coupon codes when the time comes. Make sure you guys are pre-registered for the game right now. Go to the Apple Store, go to the Google Play Store, go to Steam, whatever your poison is that you prefer to play on, and make sure you guys are registered. And again, make sure you guys also check out the Hell Hades wiki. Really trying to put a lot of effort in there, taking as much feedback as we possibly can to also refine it. Again, I just appreciate everybody that has made this process possible, man. It's just so insane. But yeah, but guys, that's basically going to be that with this one, man. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and you're just as hype as I am for Ethereum, man. But stay blessed, guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.